You're already bleeding when you realize the door is locked from the outside, the room held at a controlled 9 degrees Celsius, concrete sweating under a flickering bulb that hums at a steady 60 hertz, while industrial zip ties bite into your wrists with calibrated pressure. Not enough to disable you, only enough to remind you that whoever restrained you understands limits precisely. Footsteps approach in measured intervals, 0.8 seconds apart, and you count them automatically, regulating your breathing as your pulse stays elevated above 110. And as the handle turns, your mind drifts back to where you began, not as a person, but as a screening number in a windowless room at 18 degrees, where over 73 days your identity was audited, reduced, and erased until you qualified, then rebuilt through 14 months of controlled exhaustion. Sleep cycles cut to 3 hours, languages drilled to 92% accuracy. Surveillance routes repeated over 12 kilometers daily, until hesitation itself became a liability. And when they gave you a new name, it took 6 weeks before you said it without delay. A delay they recorded. Advancement followed without ceremony. Year 1, observing for $3,200 a month. Year 2, initiating controlled contact. Year 3, embedding fully. Year 5, running assets who trusted you in varying degrees, while you reported them all the same. And compromise accumulated quietly, in omissions and timing, never in single decisions as the system tightened around unspoken rules. Never ask twice, never exceed 500 words, never repeat a location more than 3 times. Keep expenditures under $10,000 to avoid scrutiny, and survive through precise, deniable compliance while knowing every pause, every 2.3-second hesitation was logged somewhere you couldn't see. Over time, your identity thinned, your real name lagging behind your cover, relationships dissolving into silence as you rotated through 19 safe locations in 30 days, sleeping in fragmented intervals that erased dreams until the operation, planned for 6 weeks, collapsed in 14 seconds, when you noticed the second car idling too long, windows too dark, and before you could adjust, the first shot dropped your contact instantly, followed by controlled gunfire that sealed both exits and forced you into uncertainty, which is how you arrived here, calculating distance, 2.4 meters, binding strength, probability below 20%, but not 0, as the operative steps closer and confirms what you already know. Compromised assets aren't recovered, they're contained, and in the fraction of a second their attention shifts you act, the sequence dissolving into fragments, the snap of plastic, the impact, the sound of something breaking, while the bulb continues humming, unchanged, and in the stillness after you understand the system never intended survival, only continuation. Your role prolonged until failure, your choices narrowed into outcomes, and somewhere else another candidate sits under fluorescent light at 18 degrees, stating a name that will be erased as the system proceeds without interruption, leaving you behind as nothing more than a completed entry in a file that no one needs to revisit.